All right, hello everyone. I'm here today to discuss completing the square because that's going to be part of your project, your parabola project that's going out today. So hopefully this will help you out. So I found this was actually something that we used when we were doing completing the square. So remember that the whole purpose of this is to find our x-intercepts. And whether or not the parabola opens up or down, there are these x-intercepts that we want to try and find. And there are four different ways that we've learned how to find those 2 points. So we could do factoring and solving by factoring. We could do completing the square, which I'm going to show you right now, and quadratic formula. And then recently we just got into graphing, which is the 4th way. And that will show you where your x-intercepts are visually on the graph. So really, when we're asking you to do this assignment, which is this cliff diving assignment, your x-intercepts should be the exact same numbers that you find over here in all of these 3 different boxes. And they should all have the same answers because we're looking for the same points, just in different ways, okay? All right, so I brought this out just because it has step-by-step directions on how to find your solutions. So the first thing you're gonna do is subtract or add the constant to both sides of the equation. So this is my constant, the number by itself. So instead of minusing, I want to get rid of it. I'm going to add it to both sides. So x squared plus 10x. And then we're going to leave a space here. And I want to add that over. So I'm going to add 56 to both sides. I'm going to leave a space there as well. So it says leave a space on both sides. So we're moving over our constant. And we're trying to create a perfect square trinomial right here. And so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to divide the b by 2. Well, the b value here is 10. So we're going to do 10 divided by 2, which is 5. Okay? And then it says we're going to square that result and add it to both sides. Okay? So I'm going to take that number, square it, and that is the number that's going to go here and here. So we're going to be left with x squared plus 10x plus 25 equals 56 plus 25. Okay, so now it says to factor the left side of the equation, the left side should be a perfect square trinomial, which it is. This is a perfect square trinomial. Now, what I do is basically use this to help me with my factoring because the square root of 25 is 5. That's how we got that 25. So I'm going to take my x here, this sign is going to go inside here, and whatever I put here is going to be the number that I put inside my parentheses here. And I have successfully factored the left side of this equation, and now I'm going to combine these 2 together. So 25, grab a calculator really quick, 56 plus 25 is 81. Okay, so again, I halved the middle. So half the middle, square it to go here and here. And whatever I put here, so let me find a highlighter. Whatever I put here is what is also going to go into my factor. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to take the square root of each side of the equation. So I'm going to take the square root of this side and the square root of this side. And what that does is it gets rid of the squared. So x plus 5 equals square root of 81 is 9. And we have to remember that we could have 2 possible answers, a positive 9 and a negative 9, because 9 times 9 is 81, but negative 9 times negative 9 is also 81. Okay, so now we're going to solve. We're going to figure out if we were to have a positive 9 and if we were to have a negative 9. So if I subtract 5 here, I get x equals 4. And if I subtract 5 here, I get x equals, let's see, negative 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, negative 14. So those would be my 2 answers. Oops, let me move that up. Sorry. Okay, so those would be my 2 answers. So the next thing I wanted to do is basically take the same problem, but doing quadratic formula, so that you can see that we should get the same answers, okay? So if I go here, I'm going to do my next page, which is kind of like a template that you could do quadratic formula with. So I'm going to do the exact same problem, x squared plus 10x minus 56 equals 0. And the first thing I'm going to do is decide on what is my a, b, and c. So my a here is 1, my b is 10, and my c is negative 56. Okay, so now I'm going to plug them in. Here's my quadratic formula. Opposite of b, remember, so negative b is 10. And my opposite will become here. So now I'm going to get a negative 10 here. Okay, my b again is 10 minus 4, a and c. I'm going to plug in a and c. So 1 and negative 56 all over 2a, which is 1. Okay, so I'm just going to move this up. So now we're going to simplify this. So I'm going to get, let's see, 10 squared. So what's nice about this is if you have this all done, it's kind of easy to put in a calculator to figure out your answer. Or I could put it over here too. This would be 10 squared is 100. And then I have negative 4 times 1 times negative 56. So depending on what kind of calculator I have, you should be able to do negative 4 times 1. Don't really need that, but we'll plug it in there. Negative 56. And we get 224. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and look at that. And I'm going to do 100 plus 224. And I'm going to get 324. Okay. And then 2 times 1 gives me a 2 on the bottom. All right. So now we're going to simplify that. We're going to take the square root of 324. So square root of 324 is 18. Oops, sorry. Can't see that. There we go. So that means we're going to do negative 10 plus 18 divided by 2, but we also have to do a minus. So I'm going to move this over and do a negative 10 minus 18 over 2. So using my calculator again, I'm going to do negative 10 plus 18 equals, and then divide that by 2, and I get the answer of 4. Then if I go over here and I do negative 10 minus 18, take that and divide it by 2, I'll get a negative 14. So I ended up getting the exact same answers that I did from when I did completing the square. So here are my 2 answers from completing the square. Okay. So both to, when you're doing them on the assignment, so let me go back to here. When you do them on the assignment, you have completing the square and quadratic formula, and then you also have factoring. An important thing is that when you're doing, especially completing the square and factoring, not necessarily for quadratic formula, you can't have a negative a value. And because this parabola, this jumper is going down, we have a negative a value. And what we need to make sure we do is we divide out that negative a. So we want to make sure we do that before we do the factoring and completing the square. So watch my next video. That is the one that's going to really go over the actual project. And if you have any other questions, please come see me in office hours on how to do your assignment. Thanks for watching.